Well, hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of our shooting show, and we certainly want to welcome everyone for today's program. Yes, friends, if you're seeing us on TV, we're still on the air. We are, in fact, the #1 gun television program about shooting, about gun ownership, about gun safety that has ever been, and we are so proud and happy to be here today. We have a great show for you. We've had a lot of requests for having to watch here. I'm out, friends, you'll notice I'm in the middle of a watermelon field, and we don't have prairie dogs here, and we've kind of run short of armadillos, so we're going to briefly go on a watermelon varmint hunt here today, and I just don't want one to slip up behind me. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, we've had a number of requests for more pieces from Art Alpin. Of course, you remember Art, he was an instructor at West Point, and we have copies of probably the only copy that exists of some of these West Point training tapes, and we only have so many of them, and we run them over the years at different times. I think we have one today that we can run because Art's a very popular feature, and realize that these are actually teaching tapes for the cadets at West Point. And of course, all the guns that Art has in his studio are not firing type models. The ammunition that you'll see in Art's pieces is dummy ammunition. They've been very careful about that. So anyway, we do want to include one of those pieces if we possibly can. We do have a great show for you. We have some exciting news. The Dan Wesson Company has come back up, and we are thrilled about that because I have said for many years they had the best overall design for a handgun, certainly a revolver. We're going to briefly look at one of our shooting show guns that 11 of those guns were made, and we still have a couple of them around here. We'll be looking at that, and we want to give them all the encouragement. The good news is their head of their company is also a fan of our show, which just tickles me even that much more. Well, friends, you know, you have to watch these watermelons. Now, truthfully, a watermelon cannot really, you're going to have to stretch your imagination to imagine a watermelon being dangerous. Now, if these things ever figure out how to grow in trees, you could walk under a tree and one can knock the fire out of you. But I think we have a couple of these melons that have slipped up here behind us here, and I think this 44 Magnum will be plenty enough watermelon gun. Let's see what it looks like. Now, see, that's another that's another danger point there. If you're too close to them, you've got to well, that watermelon was supposed to blow up. See, now that's an especially tough one. What we have here is a melon that has apparently got the backside shot out of it because it didn't explode like it's supposed to. Well, let's briefly take a look at just how we'll hunt these watermelons, these vicious Louisiana watermelons, out here in this field. Oh boy. Here we go. Now, friends, out here in this watermelon field, this is, trust me on this one, this is certainly watermelon shooting can be a lot of fun. And we have some hidden lurking out here in the grass. I think we got one right there. Let's see what that one looks like. Yes, indeed. Yes, we got that one. And we'll walk along here, and they're not really dangerous. What you have to watch for out here hunting watermelons, in fact, is stepping on a snake or something. Now, friends, like we say, you have to be kind of careful here. Whoops, here's a nest of them right over here, friends. Let's see if we can work on a couple of them. Let's see. Here we go, along about right. That should work. Yes, watermelon vapor. Here we go. Got another one over here. Let's see what it looks like. Yes, indeed. Let's grab the next one to it. Gun cam here. Well, yes, indeed. That one was injured already. I could tell right away. Yes, friends. Of course, you never know. One could be lurking about anywhere. My goodness, there's one. Let's see if we can get it. And getting back out of the way to keep the watermelon off our gun cam here. Yes, friends, so many melons, so little time. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's go on with the rest of our program. Well, friends, I tell you what, we have something exciting to announce. And those of you who've been watching our program for some time will remember the features we did on the Dan Wesson Gun Company. And no, this is not a paid commercial. Somebody accused us last week, our program, of being a paid commercial for the accuracy job on that rifle. It really wasn't. We just want to demonstrate some of the things out there. Wish it was, but we could use the money, believe me. And friends, let me remind you that we are still depending upon your contributions to a degree, to a large degree actually, to help us stay on the air. If you care about this message getting out to as many Americans as possible, we have some great things that we're working on, and we as gun owners absolutely cannot walk away and let the major media do to us what it has been doing for years now. We know where the Clintonians stand. We know where the State Department stands. They do not believe that we have a right to privately own firearms. They flatly don't believe it. If you'd like to help us stay on the air, please send whatever you can to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code 71024. You can call us, area 318-377-5189. Yeah, that sun is bright. Woo. I'm not perspiring, friends. I'm sweating. It is that, of course, it's warm every summer. We do have Shooting Show T-shirts, sizes small to extra large, thanks to our good friend Ron DeLong. If you'd like to order one, they're $19.95. Just write to us and call us. We'll be happy to get it for you. Okay, those of you who remember, we had a gun made by the Dan Wesson Company, or the Wesson Arms Company, several years ago, with the Shooting Show on the side of it. And this was my idea, and it's my design package as far as that goes, right down to the fluted cylinder. It was a fixed barrel 41 Magnum Wesson gun, and I've said the whole time, never have stopped saying it, that they had the best all-around design on any revolver that I'm aware of that's ever been made. You know, these were super guns. 11 of these were made. In fact, we've still got a few of them around here that thankfully that did not get away from us, because they're very collectible now. And this is number 3, in fact, old number 3. We demoed these guns out at Soldier Fortune, probably the only revolvers to ever be demonstrated there at the manufacturer's demo in Las Vegas. I can't swear to that, but I believe that's probably true. Anyway, these were terrific guns, and they told us they knew that the company was in trouble on shaky ground when these guns were made back in 1993, 94, whenever it was. But it remained to be a superior design. And due to some problems that had come along that had nothing to do with the Wesson family, but they had sort of inherited when they got the company back, unfortunately, their company was not able to continue. But they built some super revolvers. Well, the good news is that the Wesson company is back in business. It is alive again today, and they're going to be shipping revolvers very soon. I had the good luck there to speak with Bob Serva, who is the new president, and he is a very fine person. In fact, I like him a whole lot better because he's a fan of our program, listens to our radio show, and we really do appreciate it. But they're coming back with the full line of Dan Wesson guns. They have some new equipment. They have some high-tech, state-of-the-art equipment. And friends, for those of us who really appreciate fine revolvers, and these fine revolvers in particular, this is terrific news. I understand they're going to be making a full range of calibers. Now, as I understand it, my conversation a couple of days ago with Bob, they're not going to offer the fixed barrel gun, so no, this particular gun won't be available. But you know what? He is also a fan of the 41 Magnum, just as I am. And I've said for a while, arguably, the 41 Magnum is the best all-around handgun caliber, because literally it will do everything from hunting deer and black bear to personal protection, just whatever you want to do. And these Wesson guns had a superior grip design. In fact, a lot of the features on the Wesson guns have been borrowed by some others. Smith & Wesson has recently gotten away from the dowel pins in the cylinder. Now, on one of our Super Red Hawks, I was shooting it one day, and one of those little dowel pins, Those are the little pins in the cylinder that keep the ejector star in place. Actually came out on my gun. They'll come out on Smith & Wesson's too, because they're just pressed in. And it got in the hand window there in the recoil plate and tied the gun up, jammed the gun. That's very rare, very unusual, but it does happen. Well, heck, Dan Wesson figured that out and fixed it years ago. And just like the spur, and we'll look at that in just a moment, the spur type frame, and on the frame where the grip fits on it, you have a huge variety of grip types that will go on the gun, grip configurations, much more so, and Ruger borrowed that. It's a good idea. They have transfer bar ignitions. These were absolutely superior guns. Honestly, I think that the Dan Wesson lineup overall was probably the most accurate single brand of revolver. A lot of people thought that. And honestly, our experience has showed up they were just excellent. These guns will outshoot the average 94 Winchester, one of these guns that is properly adjusted, properly set up with the interchangeable barrels, which they will be offering. Well, honestly, you find the Blue Hush, my dog over there got a grass burr in his foot. You'll be all right. Can't come right now. I'll get it out after a while. All right. Move right along. Some of these guns would really turn in phenomenal groups. I've heard of silhouette revolvers, the Dan Wesson silhouette revolvers that would actually shoot 5-shot groups of 2.5 inches at 200 yards. Now, friends, that is phenomenal. It absolutely is. And we're so pleased about that. If you're interested in finding out more, and yeah, the sweat is running in my eyes. If you're interested in finding out more, and let me give you their phone numbers. Let's see if we can run this up on the screen. They're in Norwich, New York, and the Dan Wesson Firearms Company. It's at 119 Kemper Lane in Norwich, New York, 13815. Their phone number, area 607-336-1174. And let me get that again, because a lot of you out there may have the fine Dan Wesson revolvers. You may have some work you want done on them. Maybe you want one of the new guns coming out. Area 607-336-1174, and please tell them that you saw it here on our program. Well, let me show you the difference in fact, we're going to take our grip off here. Let me show you the difference in the frame design from this and the Smith & Wesson.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today.
Now then, friends, you see I've loosened the Allen bolt here, and your grip comes off, and see, here's your mainspring down here, and this is what, see, you can have any kind of grip you want, versus the Smith & Wesson here, which is very similar to what we've come. I've already loosened the screw, obviously. So see, here we have a leaf type spring, which is a real good system, but see, you have a grip type frame on your Smith & Wesson. And looking at the two guns, see, here's the difference. You've got to have a grip that will somehow go around the flame on the Smith & Wesson, which is a very fine gun, nothing wrong with the Smith. But here we have a wide variety possible on the Wesson type gun. Some other differences, and we know you have a crane lockup up front here, which the Ruger actually has again borrowed that idea. They have a release back here, but it locks right here in addition to back here on the ejector star, which is a very good idea. And of course the Smith & Wesson locks up back here and up here. So again, nothing wrong with the Smith. I'll show you these little dowel pins. See these little bitty pins here that keep the ejector star. Let's see if you can see them. They're little tiny pins. There they are. They keep the ejector star in place. Now on the newer Smith & Wesson guns, this one's several years old, they've done away with that. And of course on the original Wesson they didn't have them. They fixed it right out of the chute. Another difference is, similar to a Colt, the Wesson rotates clockwise, whereas the Smith & Wesson rotates counterclockwise. Different designs. You have a hammer-mounted firing pin. Here you have a flame-mounted firing pin, a transfer bar, which I really like that system. And there's nothing wrong with the Smith & Wesson design, but Dan Wesson came along and said, hey, I want to make some changes. And doggone it, if it didn't work. Edit. Ignition here. And watch the recoil in my hands today. This is our Smith & Wesson, again, one of my very favorite guns. And watch it in recoil. See, it's got a full charge 41 is no joke. I blew it out of the way. And, you know, gunfire doesn't bother him. He's not deaf. Well, when you call him for supper, he comes right away. But watch our Wesson. Albeit with a shorter barrel, we would think it'd have a little more recoil than that. But let's watch it with the same ammunition in my hands. Now, see there? It just doesn't do this grip design. It just doesn't have what I think is as much recoil. Well, let's do one other little test here. Let's go ahead and load our guns up with 5 shots. Honestly, friends, the Smith & Wessons are fine guns. Nothing wrong with them. But I'm really excited about the prospects of this Dan Wesson design. I've always thought it was good. Heck, I thought the Smith & Wesson should have taken some of these designs, but they just didn't. And that's their business. That's fine. They build a great handgun, but this is really exciting. Now, friends, let's run a quick comparison here between, and we don't have our timer down here today, but I think this will be interesting as is. Let's run a test here on the Smith & Wesson in rapid fire shooting and compare our groups in comparison to, like I keep saying, I like the grip angle. There's so much that can be done with this Dan Wesson design. Let's take a look at it briefly here. And we'll do 5 shots as fast as I can shoot them this afternoon. Okay. And we'll take a look in just a moment. Now let's take our Wesson, and I'm going to do the same drill, 5 shots. Blue, get back. Get. Go. Tell you what, when you have pets around on the range, you have to watch them. You really have to be careful where they go. And we don't want any animals hurt. We don't want anything hurt we're going to regret. Same drill with our Wesson. 5 shots as fast as I can shoot this afternoon. Take a look at our 2 groups. Okay, you just didn't have the massive amount of felt recoil. Take a look at our target here. Now then, friends, here is our rapid fire group with our Smith & Wesson. Now look, this is our Dan Wesson here. I'll let one get away from it. But you see, it's just more controllable. This is quite a bit smaller than this. See, I had 4, even rapid fire, they're pretty darn close here. So trust me, there is an advantage to that design on that grip and the way that gun functions. Well, friends, I'll tell you what, we would like to say welcome back to the great Dan Wesson lineup, and we sure wish those people a lot of luck. Honestly, there's room for a superior design gun, no matter how stiff the competition is. Trust me on this one, there's always room for a superior design.
Now, friends, here it is. This is the terrific Golan semi-automatic alloy frame pistol from Israel Arms International, available in 9mm and 40 caliber. And here we have the Gall in 45 ACP. Those of you familiar with the 1911, well, this is a model of the 1911 with some improvements over the standard issue model. These are terrific guns. A forging, again, from Israel Arms International. And for those Browning high power fans, here is the Kareen in 9mm. This is a terrific bargain, a gun with a lot of extras from Israel Arms International. And let's take another look at the Golan pistol. Those of you familiar with the Sig Sauer pistols will find this very familiar, but with some important improvements. Israel Arms International, you can call them for a free catalog on all their merchandise, 1-800-599-2561. Again, 1-800-599-2561. Israel Arms International, the manufacturer of the Golan semi-automatic pistol, is proud to announce that Israeli Defense Forces training units in Israel and in the U.S. who specialize in training law enforcement agencies and military units have chosen the Golan pistol as the main double-action handgun for their training. They found the Golan to be reliable and accurate for tactical or self-defense purposes, thanks to the special features you can find only on this Golan pistol. And remember, friends, these guns are all at terrific prices. If any group should know about defensive weaponry, it should be the Israelis. Let's watch one of their instructors in action. And the IDF has found the Golan to be up to the task. And whether for sports shooting, for police or military, or for home defense, these are terrific guns. For information on the entire lineup of Israel Arms International products, give them a call, 1-800-599-2561. Remember, these are very economically priced for the quality you get. 1-800-599-2561, and please tell them that you saw it here on our program.
Honestly, friends, I'm having so much fun being thinner. Now, you know, I can talk about these weight problems. Take my earplugs out so I can hear myself. I can talk about weight problems simply because I've had a weight problem for most of my life. And if you want to feel better, if you know, and a lot of us think, well, our wife or husband over there, they don't care how much we weigh. Well, you know what? For every pound of excess body weight, your heart has to pump through an extra 2 miles of blood vessels. If you want to stay around to enjoy the comforts of home, to enjoy life, if you want to enjoy life more than you are now, let's get rid of that excess weight. And you can do it with our wonderful product, Pyruvate Plus. And we get a little commission on this, but I'll tell you what, friends, the best dividend I have gotten on this was losing most of my spare tire here, most of my stomach. Because, you know, I got down to that last 20 pounds or so, and it just stuck right around my middle. And doggone it, most of it is gone. I mean, I've still got some work to do. Yes, I still have work to do, but most of it, I can look down and see my belt buckle any time, which is a major accomplishment for me. So, friends, let me tell you what. Of course, the sun's it is so hot down here. The humidity is like 105%. Anyway, if you'd like information on the terrific colloidal minerals, ionic minerals that they sell, wonderful stuff, or their complete line of vitamin supplements like coenzyme Q10 plus vitamin C, wonderful products, you can give me a call on my voicemail for Pyruvate or any of the other products, area 318-682-4218. Again, area 318-682-4218, and we'll get right back to you. We're running a couple of days behind on calls, but we're close. So seriously, friends, you can help our project, but you can also help yourselves by ordering some of this terrific weight loss product, non-prescription, no side effects. It's a strong antioxidant. It'll make you feel better, it'll give you more energy, and it'll get rid of that excess weight. Now, you won't have to dramatically change what you eat. You won't have to dramatically change your exercise program, although you'll probably feel like it because you're going to feel so much better. Pyruvate, area 318-682-4218. Friends, here it is, the great Georgia Arms ammunition. Notice these ballistic tip nodular bullets in this Georgia Arms ammunition. You see, this is equivalent to a box of 20 for only $7.95. Now, friends, that is a terrific price for essentially custom-loaded ammunition. Of course, for the plain full metal jacket, it is much less expensive. Here's another tremendous bag of Georgia Arms ammunition, 7mm Remington Magnum, 20 rounds, only $17.95, loaded with these premium Nosler ballistic tips. I tell you, this is custom ammunition at a discount price. Tell you what, friends, the good people at Georgia Arms do understand what's going on in this country. They understand how important our gun rights are, and they're supporting us on this project. The good news is you can get absolutely superior ammunition at discount prices, whether you have a handgun or a rifle. If you want to take that big hunt, you can afford to practice with your rifle as well as use that same ammunition on the hunt because they are so reasonably priced. These are some of the nicest people we have ever met in this business, bar none, and they're down in beautiful Villa Rica, Georgia. So please, friends, if you would, you can get a free catalog with a free phone call. That's as good as the deal gets. A free catalog, free phone call, 1-800-624-6861. Again, Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861. And please tell them you saw it here on our shooting show.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
The flintlock smoothbore musket reigned supreme on the battlefield from roughly 1700 to 1855. It was supplanted by the rifled musket, which was an outgrowth of two major developments. The first was percussion priming, which I'll cover in a few minutes. The second was the practical harnessing of rifling for general military use. If you have seen before, a rifled barrel has spiral grooves cut in the bore. The high spots are called lands, and the diameter from the land on one side to the land on the other side is called bore diameter. The diameter from the bottom of the groove on one side to the bottom of the groove on the other side is called groove diameter. The lands cut notches in the side of the bullet, thereby imparting spin. Therefore, the bullet must be groove diameter in order to be spun. But if the bullet is groove diameter, then you can't load it from the muzzle because the bullet won't easily pass through the barrel. In the Kentucky rifle, this was solved by using a ball slightly under bore diameter but held in a cloth patch. This was simply not militarily practical. In the 1830s, a number of methods were tried to circumvent this problem. The most popular and successful was the mini ball. This bullet was made of soft lead and was slightly less than bore diameter for ease in loading. Its base was hollow, and when the propellant gases pushed the bullet forward, they also went into the hollow in the base and expanded the side walls of the bullet into the barrel grooves, thereby engraving the rifling on the bullet and imparting spin. In addition, this also obturated or sealed the powder gases behind the bullet, giving a slightly higher muzzle velocity. Grease was placed in the grooves along the side of the bullet, first to ease passage of the bullet down the bore when loading, and secondly to keep the powder fouling in the barrel soft so that the bullet skirts could scrape some of the fouling out from shot to shot. Lastly, the bullet was conical in shape, and though no one was really thinking of it yet, this greatly increased aerodynamic efficiency over the old round ball. Thanks primarily to the spin imparted to the conical projectile, the rifled musket was much more accurate than the smoothbore. I have two demonstration targets here to illustrate this. One was fired with a Brown Bess, the other with a rifled musket. Both weapons were fired from a rest so as to eliminate as much as possible all variables except the accuracy of the weapon. 5 shots were fired at each target from a range of 80 yards. You can see that only 2 hits were made with the Brown Bess, while a respectable group was made with the rifled musket. Using the concept of the cone of fire, that is, that the size of a group at any range fits within an angle that in turn will define the size of the group at any other range, you can see that all of the rounds from the rifled musket, with the radius at 80 yards of 3.5 inches, would fit on a man's torso out to 240 yards, and the probability of a hit out to 350 yards is still quite high. The ignition system was now percussion. Gone was the pan, the frizzen, and the flint. Instead, a nipple was mounted on the side of the weapon and connected to the touch hole. A drawn copper cap with mercury of fulminate in the base was placed upside down over the nipple. When struck by the hammer, the mercury of fulminate exploded, igniting the propelling charge in the barrel. Though not necessarily faster than the flintlock to load, percussion ignition was more reliable and also contributed to the obturation of the powder gases. The obturating effects we have mentioned increased the velocity of the rifled musket from roughly 900 to a bit over 1,000 feet per second. In order to harness the increase in combat range, which resulted from the increase in accuracy, the increase in velocity, and the aerodynamic efficiency of the bullet, the rifled musket was equipped with sights. The front sight still served double duty as a bayonet lug. The rear sight, though not fully adjustable, had fold-up leaves which roughly served to compensate for range. The loading procedure for the rifled musket was basically the same as for any smoothbore musket. The soldier pulled a paper cartridge from his ammunition pouch and tore it in half by use of his teeth and hand. Again, this is not a cartridge as you and I understand it in the 20th century, but simply a paper envelope holding a pre-measured amount of powder and the mini ball. After tearing the cartridge in two, the powder was poured down the barrel, the paper then thrown away, and the mini ball placed in the muzzle. The ramrod was withdrawn from under the barrel, used to seat the mini ball down on the powder, and then returned back underneath the barrel. The hammer was then cocked, a percussion cap placed on the nipple, and the weapon was ready to fire. As seen on the range and on this chart, the volume of fire for the rifled musket was roughly the same as the volume for the smoothbore musket. However, the combined battle sight and adjust sight range was nearly 7 times as great as that of the smoothbore musket. The rifled musket was the primary weapon for both sides during the war between the states. It was this increase in combat range which had such a terrible effect upon that war. You have probably heard the slogan that the war between the states was a war fought with 20th century weapons and 18th century tactics. This statement is simplistic rubbish. It in fact was a 19th century war fought with a very peculiar set of 19th century problems. The soldier had to remain bolt upright and stationary in order to load his weapon. He had to remain in a tight formation in order to gain a great enough volume of fire to stop a massed enemy charge. But when he stood to load his rifled musket, he became an inviting target for the rifled muskets of the other side. The generals of the day had gained their experience in the Mexican War, which was fought with smoothbore muskets. The new capability of the rifled musket was something they had never experienced. There was some effort to prepare the leaders, but it didn't work out properly. In 1854, a number of competing systems, the mini ball being one of them, were tested in the United States by Colonel Benjamin Huger. His report recommended the adoption of the mini system and was submitted to then Secretary of War Jefferson Davis. To make a long story short, the rifled musket was adopted in 1855, and William Hardee was instructed to modify the drill manuals of the Army in order to account for the new capabilities of the rifled musket. Hardee's solution was to keep the drill basically the same, but by increasing the length of the pace or stride and the number of paces per minute, he had the soldiers cover ground approximately twice as fast as they had under the old drill. Given the emphasis on drill throughout the preceding 150 years, Hardee's new tactics received a great deal of attention and discussion as officers and leaders busied themselves with it. Captain Henry Heff recognized that the greater accuracy of the rifled musket would require different training for the soldier, particularly in the field of marksmanship. he created an entire marksmanship system to include awards for competency. Though portions of it were adopted, it received relatively little attention. In effect, the leaders were starting off brand new. Some worked on solutions to the paradox of being hit by the enemy's rifled muskets when you attempted to load your own. Tactically, both General Forrest of the Confederate States Army and General Smith of the United States Army came up with solutions that looked remarkably similar to the tactics of fire and maneuver and fire and movement that had been in great vogue in the last 30 or 40 years. Most of the other generals, especially by the end of the war, had learned the value of field entrenchments. In fact, by the end of the war, especially at places like Petersburg, the war between the states resembled the trench warfare of World War I. For example, Robert E. Lee's nickname was the King of Spades. He got this nickname from his insistence that his men dig in, not from any weakness for card playing. During that war, the earliest known written orders to dig in order to reduce vulnerability to enemy fire, were issued on the 1st of May, 1863, by General Lee to his forces which held the Union Army in check at Chancellorsville while Jackson's men snuck around their flank. At the Battle of Fredericksburg, Union troops created the concept of dog tags. They wrote their name and address on bits of paper pinned to the back of their shirts, for they knew when they went forward to attack that they weren't coming back. By 1864, there were many recorded instances of veterans simply refusing to attack over open ground in the face of rifled musket fire. By the same token, these veterans needed little urging in order to dig in. In a short period of time, they would have hasty entrenchments such as these at New Hope Church in Georgia. Left for a few days, they would rapidly improve their system of defensive earthworks to include cleared fields of fire and obstacles such as this system at Atlanta. Photographs of the dead of the war between the states, particularly those in the vicinity of Fort Mahone at the siege of Petersburg, support what you saw a few moments ago on the range. The cinder block parapet represented the earthworks. The evidence does suggest that, when in defensive earthworks, the soldiers of both sides drew their bayonet, placed it in the ground, and used this as a rest for their ramrod rather than return the ramrod underneath the barrel after every shot. I might add here that you should not assume all generals in the war between the states were fast learners. For example, General Orders Number 36, 7 March of 1864, from General Hood's headquarters, read, in part, "The history of the war abundantly proves that they have never repulsed a determined and well-sustained charge." I'm not sure what war General Hood was talking about, but I'm pretty sure about what he might have been smoking. Perhaps General Hood was unbalanced by his loss of an arm and a leg due to war wounds. Hood would later destroy his army by hurling it against Union earthworks in the Franklin-Nashville campaign. Given the very long combat range of the rifled musket, it is obvious that the defense was the stronger form of combat, but the war still had to be won. The North still had to invade and conquer the South. By May of 1864, the North had adopted the strategy of attrition, whereby they would advance on all fronts because they knew they could replace their casualties while the South could not replace theirs.
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today, NWI, for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember, they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod. But these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001.
And friends, hold the phone, stop the presses. NWI is now offering the 50 caliber version of a very similar gun. Looks a lot like this one, but just a lot bigger. They are in manufacture now, the semi-automatic version of the M2, the Ma Deuce, the 50 Browning machine gun converted to semi-automatic. Give them a call. NWI, area 503-429-5001. And remember, for every gun they sell on our program, they're going to donate an extra $300 toward helping keep us on the air. So give them a call today. Now, friends, recently, Mike Shire of Wilson Combat took some pictures for us at a club match for the IDPA. That's the International Defensive Pistol Association that was shot out at Bill Wilson's range out near his home there in Berryville, Arkansas. And as we have displayed before on our program, this is really interesting action shooting. I think it is much more practical than the IPSC shooter or the IPSC shooting discipline for the average person. So if you would like to get involved in the International Defensive Pistol Association, you can give them a call at area 870-545-3886. Again, area 870-545-3886. You can email them at idpa.org@yournet.com. And I think this is something, again, that is really going to benefit a lot of shooters, people that don't have vast amounts of money to spend on the race guns. You can use whatever you have. Well, let's see a few of the drills that Mike was nice enough to shoot for us and see what it looks like. Friends, we're looking at several different types of drills that would commonly be used in an IDPA match. This next drill we're going to look at, this gentleman is about to open his car when he realizes he has a threat over to his left and behind him, and he will come to the back of the automobile and shoot at some more targets. Let's see how he handles this particular drill. Friends, we really appreciate Mike Shire doing this for us, taking the time and trouble to tape some of their club match. And we do want to remind you, the first annual IDPA Championship will be held August 29th through the 31st at the United Sportsman's Range in Jefferson, Missouri. This is going to be a great match. If you're interested in going, please get in touch with Wilson Combat now. The first annual IDPA Championship, August 29th through 31st at the United Sportsman's Range in Jefferson, Missouri. Well, friends, we hope you're enjoying our program today. We are certainly happy to be here with you. Our shooting show, of course, is in its 7th year. We are still the #1 gun TV show that has ever been worldwide. And we just wish we could get the firearms industry to recognize the importance of television. This has been one of the most unbelievable things I've ever heard of. We do have a very few minutes. I do want to let you know that the judge had, I believe it's angioplasty, or in fact, it's some term I can't pronounce, but he had his carotid artery cleaned this week. Essentially, it was he had some plaque removed from it, and he is doing very well. He's not able to be here today, but we anticipate he'll be back again next week. He is doing really well. Also, a lot of you, of course, many of you have seen my mother on the program, and today she had an operation, a cornea transplant, in fact, in her right eye, and she came through it really well. And she was at home when I left to come to the studio today, and doing well. She was got out of the hospital this afternoon, so we're very, very pleased about that. Friends, we have a lot of things we need to talk about today, but we do have a very short time. Looking at my timer here, we want to welcome some new folks to our shooting show support group. We want to welcome Greg and Deb McClure. They're from Auburn, Indiana, and they have the Stowaway Self-Storage and also McClure Electric Incorporated. And we really do appreciate, if you're in Auburn, Indiana, anywhere around there, please give them a call for their electrical services or for their self-storage. We really do appreciate your support, friends, because you know what? It's people like Greg and Deb McClure, along with Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie down at Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery in Denham Springs, Louisiana, that do help us to stay on the air. And you know, if we can't have a larger sponsor, we'll take a smaller sponsor. Hey, it works for us. We'll certainly do whatever we can. In fact, our good friends at Advantage Outlet have made a suggestion this week to me, and let me get this out and show you. Remember the Bushman knife that we have featured on the program on more than one occasion? This is a very fine utility knife, or you can fit it on the end of a stick, as in broomstick, and makes a dandy spear or brush cutter or whatever else. And the good friends, or the good folks at Advantage Outlet, have said they would donate this. So what we're going to do is this. For the largest donation in the next 2 weeks to the largest donor, and when you send your donation, if you'd like to be mentioned on the air, we certainly will mention your name. If you prefer not to be, we won't, but we'll be happy to announce the winner. And this is a terrific knife. It's from Cold Steel. It is an excellent utility knife, very, very sharp, of course, like all Cold Steel products. But we're going to give this to the person that makes the largest donation, and I've got to be careful, I don't want to cut myself, in the next 2 weeks. So if you would like the Bushman knife/spear, well, we'll be happy to, for the largest donor, we'll send that out, and we do appreciate whatever you folks can possibly send. I want to mention the Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery Shop, as mentioning Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie just a moment ago. If you need custom leather work for unusual types of shoes like lineman's boots, or you need saddle work, you need bridle work, they even make harnesses for guide dogs. So you could give them a call, area 504-667-9225. Again, area 504-667-9225. And Dennis and Jeannie, we really do appreciate you folks being there with us. Want to mention about the Johnny Ray and Lonesome Bob's Very Fine Radio Show. We're in our third week, actually, of broadcasting on the Worldwide Freedom Network. And friends, this gives us a chance to take advantage of some of the work we've done over the years in music, and we really appreciate our good friend Bob Millsap for assisting on this project. He's gone to a lot of trouble and a lot of expense in helping to do our music project. You can get us on your local radio station. What you have to do is just call them Tell them we're free for local radio everywhere in the United States. Doesn't cost them anything. They can make money on the project, and we, in turn, through several things going on around this music project, it will help mainstream our entire operation here. We can make some extra money for the program. We're also advertising Pyruvate on the radio show. It is, in fact, the most entertaining music program on radio today in this country. We are on GE1 Channel 7. Get a pencil, please write this down. GE1 Channel 7, 7.56 audio. Comes on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And whatever time zone you're in, we'll just count back for whether it be Central or Mountain or Pacific. It's off to a bang-up good start. We're very, very pleased about it, and it's going to help us stay on the air. We do want to mention about our gospel show on Sunday morning on G4 Channel 14 from 10 to 10:30 Eastern Time, and our radio show on the American Freedom Network. Yes, we're doing everything imaginable because we're trying to stay on the air. Our show on the American Freedom Network runs from noon until 2 p.m. on Sundays on GE1 Channel 7, 5.8 audio. Got a lot of audios going. Friends, we're very, very close on time, but you know what? If we are to continue getting our message about gun ownership, about gun safety, about freedom, helping to retain our gun rights here in this country, you know what? We need your help. Please send whatever you can to The Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana, the zip code 71024. Our phone number, area 318-377-5189. If you'd like to talk to Bobby about advertising, you can call him, area 903-693-5097. Again, friends, thank you so much for being here with us today. We feel that our job has to be done. We have to. If you can help us, please do, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next program. Please remember about our music show on Saturday, the talk radio show on Sunday, and our gospel show on Sunday morning, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next show. Friends, I want to remind you about our good friends at Advantage Outlet. These folks have discount prices on the entire line of cold steel knives, also on Spyderco knives. And those of you that are knife enthusiasts know that these are two of the great names in knife manufacture. You can call Advantage Outlet, 1-800-561-1719. You can find them on the internet, www.advantage-outlet.com/knives. Again, discount prices on the entire line of cold steel and Spyderco knives.
Watermelon shooting can be a lot of fun, and we have some hidden lurking out here in the grass. I think we got one right there. Let's see what that one looks like. Yes, indeed. Yes, we got that one, and we'll walk along.